online? President Quintero's online? Or
No.
no? Okay.
Three amigos.
Mr. Rodriguez, members of the board, Superintendent Gastelum, and Sunnyside community. I'm sorry, I think our clock is not at the right time in the business office, but tonight we are presenting to you our fiscal year 25-26 budget revision number 1 that we are required to do in the event that there's a variance with the state of Arizona. So if we can get that presentation up. There we go. Perfect. So again, I start my presentation with the required documents at this point in time in the year. We're at the revised expenditure budget that's usually completed by December 15th and or May 15th. So there's opportunity to revise the budget one more time this year. Again, we present this expenditure budget presentation, just summarizing the fund categories that are listed here before you. Each type of fund has specific uses, and all available funding sources are evaluated when funding staff, programs, etc. The M&O budget usually is the one that funds essential district functions, and then other funding sources are used to supplement according to their specific uses. Again, usually I give you a snapshot of 100th day. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this one because, as you can see, for fiscal year 26, right now, the latest report that we use from the Department of Education dated December 1st, our enrollment or our average daily membership was at 12,732. When we adopted the budget in July, we didn't know what our enrollment would look like at this point in time. And all we can do is just use the same amount from the previous fiscal year. Because of current year funding, we have to adjust throughout the year based on current enrollment. And unfortunately, our average daily membership is down from the budget adoption of 513 in this budget presentation. I did check the report. Obviously, we have to prepare the budget ahead of the meeting, but as of today, the loss is now at exactly 4%. We're down even 13 more students at 12,719. So as you know, ADM is significantly different from actual enrollment because kinder students and preschool students are counted at half. Our actual enrollment is down 600 compared to this time last year. So again, our 100th day won't be finalized until sometime in January, and the actual enrollment will usually be the higher than the ADM. But again, ADM is what we use for funding purposes. So given that, this is the highest decline that I've seen here in the years that I've been here at the district. So there's some talking points that I included as part of this presentation because there's some things that you need to know as a governing board. When we're looking at declines like this, there's some things that we need to do as far as the budget is concerned. Again, declining enrollment means reduced funding. Our state revenues and our budget limit directly are tied to that student count. The reduced budget limit also reduces our override capacity because that is based on a percentage of that revenue control limit. And again, even though our revenues are going down, our fixed costs don't go down. It's quite the opposite, right? They continue to grow. We all know what is happening even in our personal lives, that cost of everything is going up. Financial impact, again, higher cost per student. There's more pressure on the maintenance and operation budget, and our reserves are carryover. So yearly budget adjustments are necessary. They're needed to prevent risk of any future structural deficit. Some of the times we look at making staffing adjustments. As you know, employee salaries and benefits are the largest district expense, 80%. So we should align our staff with enrollment, or right sizing, as what has been referred to here at the district in the past. Currently, we are overstaffed at the current enrollment levels. Obviously, if our enrollment's going down and we're utilizing staffing standards at our schools, there are situations in some positions that we are overstaffed. We should review our vacancies and evaluate, when positions become vacant, if the position can be phased out. And we will be doing that, including not only at the schools, but here at the district office as well. Facilities and school capacity, again, the space utilization is a lot less. So underutilized buildings increase our per pupil costs and overall efficiency as a district. So what can we do to stabilize our enrollment? We need to look at, how to increase our enrollment if possible. Looking again at our schools, creating that school climate, strong school climate and communication, looking at ways to increase our enrollment and retain our students. And looking at our open enrollment practices, making sure that we have room for everyone that comes that wants to come to Sunnyside. And then tracking why students leave and the reasons for leaving. Okay. So as far as the budget on maintenance and operation, even though I'm talking about less dollars, the net increase in this budget revision is $285,543. Our revenue control limit adjustment because of that ADM decrease was about $3.3 million. However, budget balance carryover, what we projected was less than what the actual carry forward took place. There were some things that were not received by the end of the year, so we're carrying over that budget capacity, about 1.9 million additional dollars on a carryover. Override limit adjustment went down went up slightly, $3,000. And then the legislature approved pretty late, when we were in the process of adopting the budget, they approved one-time state aid adjustment. For our district, that was almost $1 million, $959,669. And then a one-time free and reduced population level funding adjustment of $762,615. So fortunately, all these one-time adjustments and the budget balance carry forward offset that deficit. Okay. In the district additional assistance budget, there was a net increase of $2,015,060 from the adopted budget, mostly attributed to budget balance carry forward of $1.6 million. We also received a one-time adjustment from the legislature this year of $351,488. And then just a minor adjustment and the allocation based on the projected enrollment. And then the interest revenue adjustment of $754,000. So again, the additional budget capacity is applied to facility renovations, upgrades, and equipment. On the next fund, the classroom site fund, that increased $80,000. Classroom site fund allocation adjustment, $32,329. And then the budget balance carry forward was $11,453, more than what we had projected. And then an additional interest revenue adjustment of $36,276. A big portion of the increase in our budget is in federal and state grants. When we adopted the budget, we were just projecting allocations from the state. Now that we've pretty much solidified those allocations, we're also including any budget balance carry forward from all the grants that we manage here at Sunnyside. The net increase from all the federal and state grants is $6,013,678. Any additional adjustments that may be needed will be reflected in the May revision. as well as any of the other funds. And then last but not least, in the other funds category, one fund was changed. Actually, this was for the CTE fund, and that included a budget balance carry forward adjustment of 517,331. And then this is just a snapshot on this next slide of the differences between the adopted budget and this budget revision number 1. The total increase for all these funds is $8,911,670. So with that, I would entertain any comments or questions at this point in time.
Any questions?
I got a question. Is the Proposition 416 going to be helping us out in any way or form on this?
Well, Proposition 416 is basically for facility renovations and, nothing that would help the M&O budget whatsoever. I mean, we're not a district that transfers any capital funding to M&O. And I hope that we are never in that situation where then we would need bond funds to supplement our district additional assistance. But I don't expect that to happen.
Thank you.
Mr. Jaramillo, you have any questions?
I just want to make a comment. By what I've heard, we're not the only district in town that's going through this process as well, especially with the enrollment and having to either close schools or lay off individuals. I know that maybe attrition will take care of some of it, but not all of it. But, we just got to hope for the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, fortunately, we have enough in reserves to
Yeah.
carry us through. And, this is something that we like to be conservative about. The event that we have a loss like this one, that we have enough monies in our reserves to carry us on as a school district. But the action needs to be taken at some point before we have a big crisis, right? And so the sooner that you start acting and making adjustments to right size the district, the better. But, I'm not, saying that,
It's gonna
we're at a huge deficit. We'll be able to get through for the next few years, fine. But we should be right sizing the district because, if you're not doing that as it happens, it's harder to do down the line. As we saw, it was very evident with ESSER funding that we reached that cliff, and then all of a sudden we needed to make, adjustments. And fortunately, the community supported Sunnyside and passed the override that helped offset a lot of that deficit that we were facing at that time.
Looking at your ADM yearly comparison, it looks like the trend started really showing itself in 2020
Yeah.
and going down since. And by my calculations, it looks like we lost over 2,000 students from 2020 till now.
Yes.
And if it's at $842 per student, is that what the fund is per student from the state?
It depends on the grade level. Like high school students would be about roughly 7,000. That includes maintenance and operation, classroom site fund, and district additional assistance. Middle school, elementary, about 5,500 to 6,000, depending on their category.
So 2,000 students lost in 5 years is quite a big hit to the
That's
district.
correct.
Big hit. I mean, like Mr. Jaramillo brought up, we know AMFI is closing 5 schools as we speak, I believe, and
Right.
there's other districts that are having the same problem. So, I mean, we need to be a little bit more proactive, and I think that we're headed in the right direction because you've listed quite a few things that we need to do to get this ship righted.
Yeah, and like you said, Mr. Jaramillo, we're not the only district, not just in southern Arizona, but throughout the state. The statewide, the birth rates are lower, charter school competition is fierce, and so is the vouchers. So we just need to look at ways to promote our district and show them how good we are and keep our kids here where they need to be.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I think you guys covered a lot of it, and another impact to enrollment is birth rates. We had a presentation done on birth rates, and we don't, there's less babies out there, right? So there's less kinders, so we're having less students enter our district, as kinders. And so the other piece to that is housing development. You know, in the Sunnyside community, there's not a whole lot of housing development going up. So there's different factors other than the ones mentioned, you know, in terms of the vouchers and you know, one that probably people don't want to talk about, but I'll put it out here publicly is you know, what's going on with immigration enforcement. You know, there's less families that are, you know, there's less movement. This is probably the best way to describe it. You know, you have families that are, you know, they call it self-deporting. You know, you got families that are being deported. You have families that are you know, staying in one area and they're forced to go to school in that area because where before they had the opportunity to open enroll, whether that was in district, out of district, and they were able to travel and take their kids to and from school. Some of these families don't want to be on the roads, and so that's another piece to it. But you know, the fact is, you know, we knew that there was be a, you know, just from demographic studies that there would be a decline in enrollment, and that was anywhere from, you know, 1.5 to 2.5%, but we hadn't seen, you know, this decline like we've seen this year, and it's almost nearly at 4%. And so, you know, it does have us, you know, a little bit, you know, definitely concerned, but, you know, and there's not one solution to it, but what we have to do is we have to own it, and we have to make sure that, you know, we market our schools. Our schools are doing pretty well, and that, you know, each school can uniquely identify what makes them special, you know, in terms of the student experience. So it's something that, you know, we're definitely going to be talking a lot about in the next, you know, couple months, you know, as we right size, you know, we staff appropriately, and through attrition, you know, that's definitely, you know, we're going to have, you know, it results in less FTE, right? When you have less students, you have less FTE. And again, you know, we're using the word attrition. It's not a cut, right? It's you know, we have permanent subs in rooms that do a great job for us, but there's you know, if there's some sites that lose an FTE, it'll be through attrition. So.
Yeah. Any other questions? If you have another question?
Ms. Hernandez might have a question.
Yeah. If there's no further question from the board, the public is.
Might have a
Ms.
question.
Hernandez, my
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Hernandez, I didn't see your name up there. Do you have a question?
I do not. I'm listening. Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Okay, sorry about that. Didn't notice you were online.
It's okay.
Okay, so no other questions from the board. The public is allowed to address Ms. Walters on this exclusive item only, this agenda item only. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the 2025-2026 annual expenditure budget revision number 1? Going twice, anyone in the audience wish to address Ms. Walters on the 2025-26 annual expenditure budget revision number 1? Going twice. Is there anyone in the audience in the public that wants to address Ms. Carla Walters on fiscal year 2025-26 annual expenditure budget revision 1? It's the third time, nobody? So the public hearing is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're ready to start another one. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you rise, please, for a salute of the flag and remain standing for land acknowledgement. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. SUSD land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we gather as a Sunnyside Unified School District in a culturally and linguistically rich community on the land of the Tohono O'odham Nation and Pasquayaqui tribe, past and present. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the indigenous people who have been stewards of the land. As a learning institution, we commit to learning how to work, serve, educate, and uplift our youth while maintaining a diverse and inclusive environment with respect and appreciation of all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
You're welcome. Roll call?
Mr. Bustamante,
Present?
Mr. Jaramillo,
Present.
Ms. Hernandez,
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Present.
and Mrs. Quintero is absent.
Absent, okay. All right, I need a motion for approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items B through N.
Second,
Second?
roll call?
Mr. Bustamante,
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez,
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Aye.
and Mr. Rodriguez.
Aye. All right, moving right along. For those of you that do not know, Ms. Quintero is not up to leading a meeting, and she's not well right now, so thoughts and prayers for Ms. Quintero. Nothing serious, but she's just on the mend right now. And so I'm going to be taking her place for this meeting, hopefully only. So bear with me if you think I made a mistake. All right, governing board comments, Mr. Jaramillo?
Just a quick thank you for all that voted for Proposition 416. It's a big plus for our community, especially our students, folks. And the facilities are going to, improvement of the facilities is going to take place. And I just want to say a big thanks. Also wishing you all a happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. Edgar?
I also want to thank the community, thank all the staff for going out there and pushing the 416 agenda for us to get, for our kids, the community, and the support that we need is always out there. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bustamante. I've got some comments. First of all, welcome back. Thank you all for being here tonight. First and foremost, since we have a larger audience tonight and in attendance, I'd like to echo what I said at our last meeting, which was virtual, which only lasted about 15 minutes. So again, I'd like to piggyback on what Mr. Jaramillo and Bustamante said about thanking the community for making 416 a reality. And especially, I'd like to acknowledge our leadership team, our superintendent, Andy Townsend, again, a big part of getting the teams together, the principals, the certified, the classified, the volunteers, the parents. I mean, knocking on doors, public events, community events, you name it. You saw somebody from Sunnyside handing out a pamphlet, support 416, support 416. Our communications team, the literature, the pamphlets, everything was first rate. I mean, we couldn't have done it without the community, and we really appreciate this $120 million bond. As Mr. Gastelum has stated previously, I wish we had $200 million, but $120 million is more than we've had in a long time. So I look forward to seeing a lot of the improvements next year start. We know that Sunnyside High School has been mentioned a lot, you know, being 70 years old. That's our age up here, so we know they're old. So thank you so much for that. Just to change the subject a little bit, I'd like to congratulate and acknowledge our Sunnyside boys soccer team. They went to the Brandon Bean Kelly Pierce soccer tournament, South Point High School, and they won it again. They're back-to-back champions. That's always been known. It wasn't the Brandon Bean when we were coaching. It was always the South Point Classic because they won it every year. Well, guess what? Sunnyside has won it 2 years in a row. They beat South Point 1-0 in the semifinals and Micah Mountain 1-0 in the finals. And one of our players, Rowan Ayala, was the MVP of the tournament. So kudos to Sunnyside boys soccer. Awesome. Coach O'Brien and his staff and his players, congratulations. Also had a chance to go to Cienega High School. They had a 5-way wrestling meet. Sunnyside, Cienega, Flowing Wells, Nogales, and Catalina Foothills. And again, Sunnyside dominated that match. And the finals was against Cienega in their home court, on their home turf. And they've got a lot of good wrestlers. And Sunnyside won that, I believe, 66-16. So real dominant performance. And this past weekend, again, I'd like to congratulate both the Desert View and Sunnyside wrestling coaches, Coach Padilla and also Coach Leon, on the boys, because they had a 2014 William Bell wrestling tournament at Pueblo High School. 24 teams, and Sunnyside and Desert View were against each other for the championship, which was awesome. And it was won by Sunnyside. Let me tell you, every match was close. And then in the individuals, at one point when we left, Sunnyside had won 89 matches. And so congratulations to Coach Leon, Coach Olivas on the girls team. The girls dominated the duels. Our Lady Blue Devils, awesome. I just love watching them wrestle. They're so talented. And they dominated also. They had 5 individual champions. They won the team championship. I mean, nobody was even close to them. They ended up having 5 individual champions. I think the boys had 9 individual champions. And again, the dual meet scoring, Sunnyside, both girls and boys, awesome. Again, thanks to wrestling coach Paul Padilla and Mark Ortega from Desert View, and Coach Leon and Willow Leavas from Sunnyside. And again, Desert View football, they ended up a little bit short. 11-1 is a heck of a season. So again, kudos to the Desert View football team. That's all I have, Mr. Costello.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, members of the board, members of the audience. A lot to celebrate here these past couple months. We'll start off with the Sunnyside Foundation Art Exhibition fundraiser. The Sunnyside Foundation's inaugural art fundraiser was an inspiring celebration of creativity, community, and extraordinary talent within our district, bringing together students, families, educators, district leaders, donors, and supporters in a shared appreciation for the arts. Our high school artists shined as their work filled the Tucson Museum of Art with color, perspective, and heart. Congratulations to the Sunnyside Foundation for hosting a truly exceptional inaugural event. A big thank you to the Ryan House Foundation for supporting this event as well. And, you know, I personally got to attend it, and I think the big thing here is that it was at the Mecca of Art, right? Tucson Museum of Art, and it was very neat to see the families and especially the students, how proud they were of their work. And there was also art displayed by teachers, which was pretty phenomenal as well. So a big kudos to them. One of the teachers described it as, this is our Super Bowl. So never forget that comment. And the good news is that I believe it's going to be an annual event. So we're looking forward to next year as well. As Mr. Rodriguez mentioned, Desert View Jaguar football. We're incredibly proud to have cheered on Desert View High School Jaguars to the second round of the AIA 5A football championships. The team did an outstanding job working together and pushing the limits to success. We know that they'll come back next year even stronger. Good job, Jaguars. You made the Sunnyside community proud of your success, and you can proudly say you've all earned the title of Southern Arizona 5A region champions. We also want to give a special shout out to Coach Bonillas for being named Arizona Coach of the Year. Your leadership and dedication have helped shape many athletes over the years. We have invited Desert View High School's championship team to a January board meeting for a proper and well-deserved recognition on an 11-1 season. So congratulations to Jaguar football. Sunnyside boys soccer. Again, you know, they won the Brandon Bean Championship, and I believe it's the 3rd year in a row. So either two years or 3 years in a row. But you know, once again, you know, they are champions. So congratulations to Coach O'Brien and the rest of the Blue Devils there for winning that championship. Sunnyside girls basketball. Congratulations to Sunnyside girls basketball team for securing the championship title of the 4th annual Inferno Invitational Tournament. They faced off against Pueblo High School and secured the title with a final score of 51-37, going undefeated in that tournament. So congratulations to the Lady Blue Devils there. The William Bell Invitational. Both of our high school wrestling programs did extremely well at the 2025 William Bell Invitational. Desert View High School Jaguars secured the runner-up championship title. Or runner-up, Sunnyside High School Blue Devils secured the boys and the girls championship titles. Good job to all of our wrestlers for starting their season strong. Teacher of the Year honorees, and this was formerly known as Circle K Teacher of the Year. Now it's University of Arizona Athletics Teacher of the Year. Congratulations to Cynthia Lopez of Desert View High School, and Jose Luis Baca of Sunnyside High School for being named the University of Arizona Athletics 2025 Teacher of the Year Top 10 honorees. Both educators will be honored at the University of Arizona basketball game on December 22nd. So congratulations to those teachers, and we wish them the best of luck as they will have I guess they'll name the winner, right, in January. Fiesta Bowl grant winner. Congratulations to Los Amigos Technology Academy, Mrs. Jennifer Flores, for being a recipient of a $2,500 grant from the Fiesta Bowl Committee. This grant will help purchase flexible seating arrangements for students in her library classes at Los Amigos Technology Academy. Fiesta Bowl school grant recipient. Challenger Middle School was lucky to be one of the 3 schools in the entire state to be awarded the $50,000 Fiesta Bowl school grant. This grant will help create a makerspace at Challenger where students will be able to utilize space for collaborative project-based learning opportunities. Challenger Middle School was recognized at the Fiesta Bowl Museum in Scottsdale. So congratulations, Challenger. Tri-School Summit. 23 families attended the Tri-School College Summit on Saturday, December 6th, in collaboration with Pima Community College and the University of Arizona. Sunnyside parents and their 5th and 6th grade students learned about early college experiences. Our 5 middle school principals showcased their school's specialties. They shared how they support seamless transitions so that our students can enroll and succeed in obtaining the benefits of a post-secondary credential or degree. Chancellor Jeff Nassy of Pima Community College spoke directly to families about the opportunities at Pima, and Rudy McCormick from the University of Arizona discussed events that support student transitions during the elementary and middle school years. A student panel of SUSD graduates who are now at the U of A shared their transition experiences. The alumni spoke directly to the students and answered questions about scholarships and college. Special thanks to Mrs. Utter and Mrs. Lindstedt Brown and Mrs. Gutierrez for coordinating this special event. All right, federal programs. Our federal programs department has been very busy this season, spreading joy and community through partnerships with various organizations. The district's office October Monster Mash Food Dash competition, that was a mouthful, combined with turkey and food donations from the South Tucson Lions Club, provided enough for 103 holiday bags for families to use during Thanksgiving. Chase Building Team delivered 5 holiday boxes to each of our schools last week, and 5 families from each of those schools were the recipient of those holiday boxes. Lastly, federal programs help coordinate a Veritic toy drive to identify students from various schools who would benefit from being selected as a recipient. And last but not least is the Somos Sunnyside. We have a new episode out of Somos Sunnyside as we sit down with legendary teacher, Mr. Jim Heinz, who inspired thousands of students from 1973 to 2009. During the episode, as former students, we share our favorite memories from his unforgettable English class. Tune in for heartfelt conversations filled with nostalgia, gratitude, and an update on Mr. Heinz's life in retirement. This concludes the superintendent's report.
Before we move on, Consuelo, Ms. Hernandez, I forgot to call on you to see if you had any comments, and I apologize. But before I get to you, one of the things that I'd like to mention is that our very own board member, Ms. Consuelo Hernandez, was voted the top Democratic legislator of the year. So thank you so much for your hard work and dedication. Congratulations. And if you have any comments, Ms. Consuelo, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Is that it?
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, we're going to move right along. We're going to move to recognitions.
Wait, sorry.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? I don't know if you heard anything. Okay, I just wanted to wish everyone a happy holidays and thank you for the congratulations. I also just wanted to give a shout out to our staff who have been working extra hard, especially as it comes closer to the holidays. I know things can get really hectic. I was able to take a tour of one of our early child care centers right next to our district office, which was really exciting to see the amount of people that we serve in the community. And it's at no cost to the parents and the soon-to-be hopefully students one day in our district. But it was truly incredible to see the amount of work that's done. And there's about, I think, a total of 3 staff that run the program. So that was really impressive, and I appreciate everybody, and have a happy holiday.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. All right, we're going to move on to board recognitions.
I had it turned around. Welcome, everybody. We have a full house. And I'm going to jump right in because we've got a lot of recognitions to get through tonight. So I think our last in-person board meeting, we were able to recognize Desert View's cheer group, some of our principals, and the Keno Rotary for helping us put on a very successful Peace March back in September. And I think Desert View might have been practicing extra hard for, that little football game that they were getting ready for that week, so they couldn't join us. So we're here to recognize them tonight. So I'm going to have our Desert View marching band come on up. Come on up, guys. And tonight, we want to recognize Desert View's marching band for their outstanding contribution to the Community Peace March, demonstrating the power of student leadership, teamwork, and music to inspire peace and connection. And so I know Jesse was here to join us also from Desert View, so if you wouldn't mind coming up to say a few words. And I know that Mr. Davidson also wanted to make some comments and acknowledge his students.
Hello. Thank y'all for being here tonight. It means a lot to see so many wonderful community members, as well as my own admin, as well as many Desert View Band and Color Guard students here tonight. I just want to say thank you for recognizing the Peace March and what it represented to us. It was really important this year that not only did we believe in peace and march through our streets to deliver the peace pole to yet another school, but that we were also this year able to hand out free books to any kids that showed up to the Peace March. For our band, and as well as for our community, literacy is super important. And it ties not just into the physical books we hand out, but into the literacy that kids learn in music. When they're reading off a page, they're developing what we call symbolic notation, meaning that they are learning that a symbol stands for a specific sound. And that's a tie-in between music and English that helps these kids grow. And oftentimes I get the pleasure of seeing kids who struggled with reading in middle school and elementary school grow in their reading to the point where they begin to enjoy English class more and more as they grow. And I firmly believe this is one of the most important skills that music teaches that's beyond just appreciating good art and masterworks that are part of the human experience. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for allowing us to share our story with you, as well as allowing us to grow as a community together. Much appreciated. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. I'd like to, on behalf of the Desert View administration, like to thank you guys as well, and thank all of our board members here that are acknowledging our kids and in our program. Mr. Davidson, it's been a wonderful privilege working with you, and Ms. Nettleson and I talk about it regularly, how awesome it is to see you guys marching out there onto the field for our football games, and see you guys marching around the school and really bringing life, and you're a heart pulse to our school and to our community, and it's awesome. And seeing you guys and your smiles light up as you walk onto our campus and standing here in the boardroom, it's awesome. It's a real privilege to serve you guys, and I know our board really supports you guys. Our superintendent loves and supports you guys as well. So thank you guys and congratulations. Thank you for the honor to our band program.
I just want to piggyback on what everybody's saying. You know, the piece that truly impresses me about, you know, our band students is the time they put in. I don't think people realize how much practice and time goes into their performances, how long their seasons are, and you know, they're out there every single day, you know, whether it's morning, day, or night, you know, preparing for these events, cheering on our football team, you know, in these community service and then competitions, right? And so, you know, I have a deep amount of respect for the work you put in. You know, keep up the great work. I also want to recognize our band booster parents who do a phenomenal job of supporting, you know, of supporting our students. You know, that's all volunteer time. It's hard work. You know, they're out there selling things to buy extra instruments. You know, we got uniform things we got to take care of and some other things, but just want to thank them for their dedication and time, and that, you know, that they know that their work is being recognized as well. So, you know, keep up the great work, and we can't wait to, you know, see you guys again next year perform. I don't know if you guys have one last competition or not, or you guys? We're good. All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I think we can all agree that we have an amazing group of students here, and a large part of their success is due in part to the support that comes from the Booster Club. I know Mr. Gustavo mentioned it, but we would like to acknowledge our Desert View Band Booster Club as well for their outstanding service, whose selfless actions, including securing new instruments in a moment of great need, continue to elevate student morale, opportunity, and pride in Desert View's band. So Desert View Band Booster Club, come on up.
I just want to say thank you to our board members, hoping Ms. Quintero has a fast and speedy recovery. And thank you to our superintendent for partnering with us and allowing us to help our kids. It's nice to see a growing amount of parent support coming out. We started with a handful of parents, and now we're kind of told that we have too many volunteers, which is never enough, right? But thank you to all the parents as well for supporting our kids. We all see our kids out there. They're practicing 12 hours a day in the heat, especially in the summer. And it's great to see. Thank you.
Let's get a picture, group picture. Let's get a group picture. Thank you so much.
Just a quick comment to the band members as well. You know, they're not only doing very well out in the football fields where they're performing, but they're doing well academically in the classroom. So that's kudos to you for doing that. Thank you.
Okay, so this next recognition is for Miss Ilaria Zilog from Los Amigos Tech Academy. Come on up, Ilaria. So recently, Ms. Zilog was honored as a Tucson Values Teacher finalist. So we just want to celebrate you tonight for finishing as a 2025 Raytheon Leaders in Education finalist. And this award has just a long legacy of excellence, honoring exceptional commitment, innovative teaching, and just the profound impact that you have on the students of your community at Los Amigos. So thank you for being so amazing. Your ceremony and your recognition reception was so beautiful. So I wish we had a way to show that video of you. So it was a tearjerker for sure. So, but if you'd like to say a few words, I was going to ask you. And then I know Mr. Ramirez also wanted to say a few things as well.
I'll keep it short. I just know that I was very honored to get that award, and I think in large part I was even up for that award is because I'm a Sunnyside educator. I started student teaching in 2014 at Los Amigos, and I went home for 1 year and I missed it too much, and I came back and I've been here ever since for a decade of my career. The people that I've been able to be inspired by, the leaders that I've had, the educators that I've worked with, my teammates that I've had for the full 10 years of my career are the reason that I'm even up for, I was even nominated for that award. So I just want to say that I'm very grateful to be a Sunnyside educator. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to, I'll make it quick too, as I know it's a lot of recognitions tonight, but I just want to express that it's a true honor and privilege to get the opportunity to work every day alongside Alaria. She is an exemplary, amazing teacher that not only do I get to work alongside her, I get to learn from her every day. You know, being her principal, I've learned so much from her about education, and it just, myself as a leader, learned from her. So thank you for that. Thank you for being my daughter's teacher. She loves you so much and will carry everything that she learned from you on through the rest of her life. So thank you so much. You know, we're all winners here in the Sunnyside community because you are here with us and choose to stay here in Sunnyside. So thank you.
All right. So if you've ever had the opportunity to be in Ms. Zilog's class, I mean, it's pretty amazing, you know, in terms of the energy, in terms of how engaged students are, and the response, you know, that her students have to her instructions. So I mean, this is something to be super proud of. I mean, we're super proud of you. I mean, it's quite the recognition to make the, you know, Raytheon Tucson Values Teacher finalist list. You know, across all of Southern Arizona, there's hundreds of teachers, maybe thousands of teachers, and you were on that list, and it's well deserved. It's for, you know, your commitment to our students, your commitment to being an educator, and we can't thank you enough for it. So congratulations.
And there's also a Somos Sunnyside podcast where Miss Hilaria told her story, so make sure you go check that out. Okay. Next up, here's another award that we're always proud to claim as a district. Legendary Teacher Day rolls around every September, and there's so many, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of really heartfelt tributes that are submitted to the Legendary Teacher Day recognition program. So this year, we're super proud to have our Spanish teacher from Sunnyside High School, Miss Zelica Araiza, honored as the Legendary Teacher Day recipient. Congratulations, Ms. Araiza.
Do you want to say a few words? We'll give you the mic. I you know, first of all, I want to, again, you know, it's such a great night to have this problem of having so many recognitions, right? And honoring our educators. You know, when I think of the student experience, it's shaped by the educators we have at all our 21 school sites. And so, you know, Ms. Araiza has dedicated her career in this district, has been here for numerous years now, has been department chair. You know, her students excel in the AP Spanish exam. I mean, you know, the pass rate of those students is very high, and that test is very challenging. And so, you know, want to thank you. I mean, this is just a well-deserved recognition for, you know, as Legendary Teacher Day. And so I also want to thank the Sunnyside administration for nominating her, you know, for this award and then her receiving it. So congratulations. We're super proud of you.
Thank you. Just a little bit about myself. I plan to only do student teaching and then go back to the university. And I've been here 20 years and I stayed at Sunnyside. So it's home away from home for me. I teach everything from AP students. I have a Spanish for Medical Careers class where students who are bilingual strengthen both languages, and they get trained in translation and interpretation as well, so that they have something under their belt once they leave Sunnyside. On top of that, I also help students who have fallen behind through the years. You know, we were just talking about 2020 was really hard for students, and just to get back on track. And so I also have an online recovery class. So I get to work with all type of Sunnyside student, which is very fulfilling for me as a teacher. And just to see them, you know, at the end at graduation, I get to read their names as well. So it's just very fulfilling for me. So thank you so much for this honor.
Okay, so this last group of honorees were presented with their awards last month, I believe, at the AZ Alas conference, which is the aspiring, I'm sorry, I blinked. I was going to say the acronym, Latino Administrators.
Association of Arizona Latino Superintendents.
Yes, there you go. Kind of a mouthful. That's why we call it AZ Alas. So there were 3 recipients that represented Sunnyside at this award. So first I'm going to have a teacher that I've heard is kind of a legend, and I've never personally met, but retired teacher Maria Elena Wakamatsu for the Lifetime Achievement Award. Come on up. I'm going to call all 3 recipients up and then invite you all to say a few words if you would like. Hi, congrats. Okay, our next recipient was honored with the Aspiring Leaders Award, and that is Miss Liana Montiel from Summit View Elementary School. Come on up. And last but certainly not least, our very own Chief Operations Officer was honored with the Todo Corazon Award. So Mr. or Dr. Abel Morado, if you'd like to come up. And then I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but you're more than welcome to say a few words if you would like.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, Jose, ladies and gentlemen of this Sunnyside School Board. Mil gracias, de veras. Thank you so much for this honor. I can't tell you how grateful I am to this community, to the parents of this community, because they did something extraordinary for my career. They trusted me with their kids. They didn't know me. I wasn't from here. I'm from the frontera. I'm from San Luis, from Somerton, from Yuma, where you used to go and pick melon, right? I know this guy from a long time ago. But I came here. They didn't want me teaching over there. I don't know. No saben lo que se perdieron, ¿verdad? Their loss, because you guys here, you trusted me with your kids, and for that I will be forever grateful. So, so grateful, because every single day that I came to work at Desert View High School, it was a joy y el honor más grande de mi vida. Muchas gracias. Que Dios los bendiga. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate so much the recognition that I'm receiving today. Just quickly want to share that I myself I'm a product of the Sunnyside Unified School District as well. Elementary, middle school, high school, class of '07 from Sunnyside. And so I just feel so privileged to have the opportunities to come back and serve the community that I grew up in, come back and work with the students, the families in the Summit View community. So again, just keeping it short, just thank you for the recognition, greatly appreciated.
I just want to say thank you to Sunnyside School District and to AZ Alas for this award. It is an honor to receive it, and I get so much more coming to work every day than I think that I give. And as long as I can say that, I'm hopefully going to be around. So thank you.
I feel like we have a hall of fame up here of educators, and so, first of all, I want to start with, Ms. Wakamatsu here. I met her as I transitioned to Desert View as a young assistant principal, not knowing what I was doing, right? So I was freshly new AP at the high school, and I can't thank her enough for being one of my mentors. As I walked onto that campus from day one, just embraced me. And this isn't about me, but I just want to point out the type of person she is. And you heard the passion come out in her voice, and that's an everyday thing. That's what her kids got in her classroom every single day. And so one of the things that I really respect for her, and I have a great deal of pride, is, it was her goal, her mission to remove any barriers for any of our kids, in terms of access to education, in terms of access to her post-secondary opportunities. And I have a great deal of respect for her. So, everybody's got their work moms or work wives. I mean, she was definitely one of my work moms, when at Desert View High School. And so I learned so much from her and Mr. Kruger and some of the others that were there for a very long time. So muchísimas gracias. Thank you for all you did, and thank you for choosing Sunnyside as well. And so, with Liana Montiel, this is so well deserved. Aziala's aspiring administrator. She's currently an ABSS, at Summit View High School, and she's got a bright future in administration. And so, we can't wait to see, where she's headed. And not that we want you to leave anywhere, right? Don't misinterpret that. But in terms of your career, your trajectory is bright, and so again, well deserved in terms of the recognition. So congratulations, and Dr. Morado, I know he doesn't like the attention, but I'm gonna give it to him anyway. He's just been phenomenal in his role, in every role that he's played, and I think people would argue he does it, or not argue, right? That he's just so good at what he does. I don't think I've ever met with anyone with the strong follow through that he has. His follow through is amazing. In every role he's been in, and he's been in education for a long time in many different roles. And this last role, he's overseeing our maintenance and transportation departments, and they're excelling because of his leadership. So thank you for all you do, and another well-deserved award. So congratulations to all of you.
We have any calls to the audience?
No, we don't.
No calls to the audience, okay. All right, yeah, I'd like somebody to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Yes, I'd like to make approval of the consent agenda, items B through N. Recommended the approval of the consent agenda, items B through N as submitted.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Mr. Bustamante?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez? Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye. Aye, sorry.
Got it.
I was-
That's okay. Mr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Thank you.
I need a motion for approval of the governing board minutes.
No, no, no. We're going to go to
Oh, good.
general functions.
Functions.
That's all part of consent agenda.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
All right, general functions, again, that's Carla Walters, fiscal year 2025-26 annual expenditure budget revision number 1.
Mr. Rodriguez, members of the governing board, at this time, I would like to respectfully request that the governing board consider the approval of the budget revision number 1 for fiscal year 25-26 as presented during the public hearing.
Need a motion?
Yes, recommend the governing board approve the fiscal year 2025-2026 annual expenditure budget revision number 1 is submitted.
We have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Bustamante?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Aye. Thank you, Ms. Walters, for all your hard work and dedication, much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is SUSD Proposition 416 Bond Election Update. Is that you again, Ms. Walters?
Yes, it is, Mr. Rodriguez. Yes, it is my privilege and honor to provide this update for the governing board and our Sunnyside community. As you mentioned earlier today, we are very, very pleased with the outcome of the election for our bond, also known as Proposition 416. The proposition was for $120 million, and it was passed. And in here, I have the categories as far as what was appeared on the voter pamphlet and also on the ballot, as far as where we intended to spend the $120 million. $58 million of it was to go to construction, renovation, and modernization of all 21 schools and grounds, including Sunnyside High School building replacements. $10 million for critical safety and security improvements, $5 million for athletic and fine arts facility upgrades, $43 million for replacements and upgrades of structural, mechanical, plumbing, electrical, and roofing systems, and then $2 million each for classroom technology, furniture, and equipment, and student transportation vehicles, totaling $120 million. We didn't come up with these monies just by chance. We actually had an organization called the H2 Group that conducted a capital needs assessment. And Dr. Morado was gracious enough to bring the binders of all the different projects that were identified. So we do have a list of projects that is real, that have been prioritized, and we know exactly where the repairs need to take place throughout our school district. As you know, our schools, what we talked about a lot was that they're in urgent need of improvement, modernization, and long overdue repairs. And a lot of these repairs, unfortunately, are things that we don't see visually, like the landscaping, the paint, but they're things that are happening internally within the school's walls, underneath the school or on top of the school, in the form of roofs. So as you know, we presented this information repeatedly. The facility condition assessments were about $80 million, another $47 million for Sunnyside High School. And that total $128 million, yet we only asked for $120 million because we were very well aware that we have capital funding available to us, either through our allocation from the state of Arizona or also from our override that was approved in 2023. So we're very fortunate to be able to tap into those resources as well to make sure that we are able to complete all the projects that have been identified. This next graph shows the totals that were provided to us by school. These are only the school repairs, does not include district office. But as you can see, the immediate repairs that were to be done in the first year, that alone totaled about $13 million. And then the deferred maintenance from years 2 to 5, that totaled another $64.3 million for a total of 77. So again, there's a lot of need out there. And I know that if you recall, the schools also were applied an index as far as the condition of that school. And we presented that information as well to justify the need for this bond. Again, the consolidated election results for that November 4th election, known as Proposition 416, we garnered a 58.87% yes votes. It was the highest percentage of any school district in Pima County that had the highest percentage of yes votes, 58.87, and then 41.13 no votes. And again, these results are presented here for you by precinct number in the different areas of our Sunnyside School District, the number of registered voters, the number of ballots that were cast, and that the voter turnout was pretty low, about 16.66%. Nevertheless, you can see that in most precincts, we had more yes votes than no votes. So only two that were pretty small. Precinct number 19, 71 yes and 105 no. That's only like a 34 vote margin there. And then the other precinct was 231, 11 yes votes and 25 no. Again, very small number of votes there, but overwhelmingly we took most of the precincts within our boundary. Our next steps, again, the first two have already been completed. The county, Pima County Board of Supervisors already canvassed the votes, so these are the final election results, and we reported the results to the Arizona Department of Education. So what happens next, right? We have to review our priority projects in the capital improvement plan to determine the amount that we'll need, because even though we were approved for a $120 million bond, we don't have to sell all the bonds at once. We sell them in chunks, if you will, depending on the rate of utilization that we anticipate spending those $120 million down. So again, we need to set up a meeting to do that. We can start selling bonds this fiscal year even. We can start now. And then we would set up rating calls with our bonding and rating agencies to make sure that we look attractive to all those people that want to buy the bonds and hopefully at the lowest interest rate possible. and then we would sell the bonds accordingly, come back to the governing board with a resolution, of course, and giving us the authority to do so. But we're very excited about this work, and we're ready to take it on and make Sunnyside shine.
Any questions? Mr. Bustamante? Ms. Hernandez, any questions for Ms. Walters?
No, just thank you for the presentation, Ms. Walters.
Mr. Costello?
Yeah, just a couple comments. First and foremost, I am so thankful that once again, this beautiful community of Sunnyside has supported our efforts, has backed us, in terms of another, successful bond here. 2 years ago, we passed 2 overrides, and despite the tough times, despite, all that, they truly understand the need for it. It's still disappointing that, the state and federal budgets don't support us appropriately. And therefore, we have to ask our community for bonds and overrides like this. And so, it just speaks volumes of our community in terms of their trust in Sunnyside, their trust in our educators, and, their trust in us, being fiscally responsible for these types of budgets. And so it is on us to deliver, what we have promised the community in terms of these pieces that we campaigned with. Obviously, not only thanking the community, but I want to thank, our teams, our PAC, our Political Action Committee, our, Andy Townsend, as you mentioned earlier, Mr. Rodriguez, led that committee again, and we were successful. Our region leaders, we break up the regions, by the precincts, and there was a intentional plan, and those individuals worked tirelessly, going out and spreading the word. I mean, the most important thing we wanted was the community to know what they were voting for. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank our employee groups, SEA, SCEA, SAA, for getting involved as well. Their organized efforts, made a difference. And when we look like a united front, and there was very small opposition to this effort, it just speaks volumes. So I couldn't be, couldn't be any prouder of the result. And once again, despite the political climate and the inflation and just prices, I mean, we had the highest yes votes at nearly 59%. And, although, Ms. Walter had mentioned I think we had approximately, we have approximately 40,000 voters in the community.
That is only 6%.
And we had about 53 individuals votes.
16%.
Right, 16.66%. I hate for that to be the norm. I mean, I think 2 years ago we had about a little over 7,000 votes, and there's different reasons why people don't get involved and don't vote. I mean, I'm thankful it's a yes, but I do want our community to be aware of those numbers as we also are teaching our young students about this. Now that we can talk about it, because it's so important that they are engaged, in what's going on in their communities. And so, the research shows, not to go down a rabbit hole here, but, it is the age group of 50 plus that gets out and vote. And so we just got to get, more of our even our students coming out that are eligible to vote at 18 to understand that process. So just wanted to, echo, those sentiments, and we're ecstatic. We're super, super excited. And the other thing is we want individuals to know, earlier we talked about, declining enrollment. And this isn't an M&O fund. The Proposition 416 is a capital bond, which pays for capital needs, and it doesn't pay for programs or people, but it's going to give us a great opportunity to update our schools. I mean, we've said it time and time again, average age of our school is 40 years old. Sunnyside, 70 years old. And so we'll have a great opportunity to update our facilities. And I'll end with this. Our kids deserve it, as I've said all along, and they deserve to come to schools that are modern, that have updated equipment, that have updated, modernized classrooms. And we're already starting to see the effect of that from the overrides we passed 2 years ago. I mean, we're starting to get furniture and I don't want to, it's all on our website if you want to look at it, but I don't want to get long-winded here, so thank you.
If I can add, from the very first conversation we had about this bond, our superintendent was so positive about it passing. Never did doubt that the community would hear our pleas for the needs of the Sunnyside students. And so Mr. Gastelum was the leader of this initiative. We had no doubt with his leadership and the people he had in place that it was going to pass. And we asked ourselves as a board, when is it a good time to ask for a bond? We know the prices are going up. We know all this. And so we said as a board that let the voters decide. If they know that it's a difficult time and they can't afford it, then they'll let us know. And if they see that the Sunnyside School District is doing this for the students and for the future students, let's see what happens. And thank goodness that they did pass the bond. And thank you to everybody that knocked on doors and passed out pamphlets and did their job. I said, so thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Walters, for everything your team has done, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
And, and also the transparency that we've had all along.
Yeah.
I mean, and if anybody has any doubts, Mr. Costello, it's on our website that they can go back and double check the numbers, and the needs assessment was done. These are needs for our kids, for our community, and for our future. So I just want to say thank you to everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to say one thing.
Thank you.
A couple of days before the election, you came up to me and you told me, I'm not a loser. I won so many overrides and so many bonds. So don't make me come back with a negative feeling. And I go, oh no, we'll win by about 52%. And you told me no, 58%. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving right along, SUSD annual report. Ms. Felix.
Good evening, governing board, superintendent, members of the audience. You guys hear me okay? This mic's a little low. I'm pleased to present our Sunnyside Unified School District annual report. I know it's been out for quite a while now, but I just wanted to walk you all through the process and just the thinking and some of the work that went into create this publication. It's definitely more than a summary of data. This report just had a lot of goals in mind. One of them was to reflect our ongoing commitment to transparency and accountability, and just clearly communicate with our families and the community that we serve. And we do, and we have been publishing an annual, it's called the PAFR, the Popular Annual Financial Report. And I just want to make sure that they're different. They're two different publications, although the financial report does include district narrative. This is not going to be a one-time project for us, which means that there is going to be opportunities in the future to highlight other programs, partnerships, and the many, many students and staff that have so many accolades that could have been highlighted in this report as well. But we had a page limit and a budget limit, so we had to stop it at some point. So when we kind of asked ourselves what the purpose of this report would be, we just, Mr. Gastelum says this all the time, we have to tell our story, otherwise, others will tell it for us. And so we just wanted another avenue of communication to share, some of the highlights of the district and some of the positive celebrations that we had to share. So we wanted to also provide the community with a clear picture of our resources and how they're used, and then also tell a story about how those investments support the mission and the vision of the district, especially in anticipation of the bond election that we had on the ballot. So this year's report is especially important because it's been about 6 years that the district has published an actual annual report, and we're very proud of that. And so in addition, and I think equally important, it just aligns with our 5-year strategic plan. So we just wanted to also introduce the community to that if they hadn't already heard of that. So we, as you probably read, and structured a lot of our content around the pillars of the strategic plan so that the community would be able to see how it aligns with our long-term goals. And so I'm going to just transition into the distribution and the timing of the publication. So obviously our approach was very intentional and about how and when the report was shared. We were like to make data-driven decisions, and so we were able to obtain data for people in the community who live in the district boundaries who have a high propensity of voting. And what that means is that the people who receive the actual printed report participated in the last 3 elections. So whether it was a mail-in ballot or voted at the polls, okay? And so that was 5,500 households in our district boundaries that received printed copies. Also, every family received the digital copy. We used our mass communication system and shared that with our families. Our staff received a digital report as well. And then we did mail some copies to the schools to distribute as they see fit. So the timing of this mailing was obviously very important leading up to Election Day. We just wanted to ensure that voters had just clear and accessible information about the district operations and needs as they considered their own votes for Prop 416. And so our goal was to just equip the community with accurate, digestible information so that they could make informed decisions. In addition to providing the Prop 416 information, we wanted to make it somewhat interactive, and so there were QR codes throughout the report that pointed you to certain key pages on the district website, including the 2023 override page, which we've created to kind of showcase some of the projects that have been able to happen in our district due to the passing of those initiatives. So I'm going to move on to the design and the accessibility portions of the report. So we put a great deal of thought, obviously, into the design of this. We know that election season brings a super high volume of just mail in our mailboxes. And so we chose a non-traditional format, so that's why we went with the 8.5 by 8.5 square size on matte cardstocks, because we wanted it to stand out among the flyers and all the mailers that we received during that time of year. So we just reviewed all the various types of paper and binding, and that's just kind of how we came to our decision. And so plain and simple, we just wanted to produce something that felt, like tactically really substantial and worthy of the information that it was carrying. So every picture in the report includes pictures of our students. They're real pictures of our staff. No stock photos were used. And so that's always, a point of pride as well. And lastly, as far as accessibility goes, we've had comments before, like for instance, when we've sent out essays or even the popular annual financial report, that community, they're not educators, right? And so they want digestible language that's not like academic language, although that's important in some cases. We just wanted this to feel a little bit lighter of a read. That's why we did the larger font, lots of pictures, very colorful, just for that accessibility piece. Also, the report was not printed in Spanish, but it is available digitally on the website in Spanish. And we made sure that our families knew that when we blasted this out on Bright Arrow and emails. So obviously, what's an annual report without a fiscal transparency page? So we made sure to just include a very brief summary of financial stewardship. And again, we knew that families wanted to understand not just the what we fund, but why, as we're continuing to tell our story. So, but yeah, I hope you all had a chance to read it. We've received a lot of compliments, and so I just want to thank my team, because we were under a very tight timeline, just making sure that this was going to hit mailboxes before Election Day, and it was a race to the printer for sure. But it was a monumental task that required many eyes and many hands, and so I just want to thank my team for that. And just like we do with our printed district calendar, I always keep a blueprint copy with me, as I call it, to like track errors and just make notes as we already start to think ahead for next year's publication. And so just there's always room for improvement. And so with that said, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge a small oversight in this year's printed version of the report, which was the Sunnyside Foundation, which is one of our long-standing partners, was unintentionally left out of this year's annual report. This was an editing oversight on our part. And the foundation continues to be an important partner of ours. And they're always very active in supporting our students and our schools and everything we do. And so I just want to point out that the website has been updated. So the digital version of the annual report, which lives on the district website, has been updated to reflect that acknowledgement. So you can see that live already if you'd like. And so I just wanted to make sure we name that publicly and just reaffirm our appreciation for the foundation's ongoing support. But with that said, our district has much to be proud of. As we witnessed tonight, there's just always something to celebrate, the work of our educators and our staff and the achievements of our students and the engagement of our families. And so that, I think, was evident in the trust that our voters demonstrated in the passing of Proposition 416. So I think the annual report is hopefully a reflection of that collective effort, and I'm already looking forward to starting the planning for next year's publication. So thank you for the opportunity to just talk about one of our projects, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I think it's really well done.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank you for bringing up the Sunnyside Foundation, because they are a big partnership with us, and they're probably visible at every occasion that we have. So thank you, Sunnyside Foundation, for being so supportive.
Mr. Bustamante?
I want to thank you for keeping the culture of our community in the booklet for communication. People don't realize that we have a lot of grandparents out there that like to see things like that, but that's how they understand that's their well-being. But you guys did a tremendous job out there. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Hernandez, any comments?
No, thank you.
I'd like to say a few things. I think it was well done. The students, I think your department deserves a lot of accolades for getting it done. The timeliness and with all due respect, I believe the public probably didn't notice the missing of Sunnyside Foundation, but our staff did. So and I'm glad you acknowledged that Sunnyside Foundation is a big part of what we do here. So they not only serve us, they serve other districts too, but Sunnyside Foundation is here at the forefront. So thank you for acknowledging that.
Absolutely.
Mr. Castello?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I think it had been years since we've published anything like this. And so, I do always tell our leaders we have to tell our story, right? If you don't tell your story, somebody's going to tell it for you. And so, a lot of times the community is not aware of everything that goes on. And so it is on us to make sure that, we provide them, this type of report so that they can see all the things that are happening, in the district, not only the projects, but like the academic achievements, in terms of scholarships, in terms of graduation rates and so forth. And so, I do want to recognize our communications department for putting on, such a, for producing such a nice piece, and also, we definitely want to publicly apologize to Les Soltero. I know she's here in the audience, and definitely want to apologize to the Sunnyside Foundation Board, as they are an important partner of ours, and we always include them in everything we do. And so, their work is, and our partnership is super important to us. And this is a this is a big oversight. It was definitely unintentional. They help with things like Tri-School that we talked about earlier, CTE initiatives, the support of some of the programs like cybersecurity and automotive, dual enrollment, the mini grants that they provide teachers. Dollars for Scholars is a huge event every year. And also, securing donor funding, like from the Rhinehouse Foundation and OSA Foundation. So, once again, want to definitely give our most sincere apologies. And, but, we're here to also celebrate all these amazing accomplishments. And so, we're going to learn from this, and every year this is going to get better. And I know the team's going to put a better product out every single year. So thank you for the work that your team did on this.
It's just going to be annually now instead of 6 years? Is that the goal? Is that the goal?
As long as we have the budget.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
at least once a year for sure. I know some districts out there do 2 a year, but this is not to this extent, so a lot of work goes into
Yeah,
this.
no kidding.
And so it's quite the production. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have an opposition letter regarding potential Pima J-TED District Special Bond Election. District Administration recommends the approval to sign a letter on behalf of the governing board to the Board and Administration of Pima J-TED expressing formal opposition to the current draft of a potential special bond election under consideration for November of 2026. Mr. Gastelum?
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. So, as Mr. Rodriguez mentioned, Pima County J-TED is made up of 14 member districts, right? And so the governing boards and superintendents of these member districts have created a letter expressing our opposition to the current draft plans for a potential Pima J-TED special bond election. In 2006, when the voters formed Pima County J-TED, they embraced the vision of a decentralized model that would ensure students across the region could have access to high quality CTE programs at their local high schools, right? And so to this day, 90% of students, who participate in CTE courses through Pima J-TED are in satellite programs. So satellite programs are your CTE programs at your 14-member districts, right? Your 14-member high schools. And so 10% is at the central campus, which you see like at Bridges right there off of Park, and then they have a couple other campuses. Those are central campuses. And so satellite programs, again, 90%, they have 28,800 students that are represented in satellite programs, as opposed to 3,200 students at central programs. And if you include lease land programs, it's up to 92% made up of member districts. So part of the reason we are on the opposition side is that there's different barriers. So students face transportation barriers accessing centralized program. That's why it's so important to have these satellite programs on campuses. And remember, I mean, the location of these J-TED central campuses, they're in close proximity to us, but they're not in close proximity to other districts around southern Arizona. And so, one of the things is the question of why has Pima J-TED shifted away from satellite programs? What is the reason for them shifting away from satellite programs? Also, not to mention that member districts have also seen a percentage of their funding from J-TED decline every year. It was at 70% when the partnership started in 2006, and now it's down to 66%, the funding to member districts. In addition to that, I'm going to talk a little bit about numbers, because this bond that they're, proposing is a $300 million bond package. $300 million. 240 million would go to central campus projects, meaning would go to Pima County JTED campuses, right? Central campus. 60 million would be split between the 14 member districts. And so, you know, we simply can't endorse a proposal that would result in $240 million for buildings and programs currently for 3,200 students. If you look at that in per pupil terms, and we've talked a lot about enrollment today, that would translate to Central Campus for their 3,200 students, $75,000 of bond funding per Central Campus student. The allocation would be $75,000 per Central Campus student, compared to the 28,800 students that would be compared to $2,000 per pupil. So you take 75,000 per pupil versus the 2,000 per pupil. So, you know, and I'll read this. So member districts have a strong history of engaging our local communities, gathering feedback, developing shared visions, and when appropriate, asking for voters' support to bring these visions to reality. It's apparent that Pima JTED administration has not followed a similar path. Asking voters to fund a campus that is neither accessible nor sought by the vast majority of their students would be misleading, and would definitely threaten the trust of and support of taxpayers of Southern Arizona. And so, you know, they currently have 2 buildings, again, serving the 3,200 students. I believe 1 building is going to be under construction, you know, in the next couple months. And then they're asking for a 4th building, from what I understand. And so, you know, we're asking our governing board, you know, for action on this item. And so I'll hand it back over to Mr. Rodriguez.
All right. I think another point to be made here is that the conversation about this $300 million bond was after the fact, not before the fact, getting all the districts together and saying, this is what we want to do, what is your input? It was like, here we go. So, I mean, 75,000 versus 2,000 is a big hit to all of the satellite districts that have the majority of the population. Need a motion?
Yes, like I have a motion, is that I recommend the approval of the opposition letter regarding the potential Pima Joint Technical Education District special bond election.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Bustamante?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Aye. All right, we need a request to enter into executive session. I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute, Section 38-41, 431.03A2, discussion of or consideration of records exempt by law from public inspection. This specifically includes situations in which a public body receives or discusses information or testimony that is specifically required to be maintained as confidential by state or federal law. Need a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to enter executive session.
Roll call?
Second.
Well, second, I'm sorry.
Mr. Bustamante?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Aye. We'll be back.
Like the plague, huh? Is she back with us?
All right, we need a motion, Mr. Jaramillo?
Yes, I'm making a motion after executive session. The motion is to proceed as directed in executive session.
Second? Roll call?
Mr. Bustamante?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez? Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Aye. Okay, now we need another motion.
Yes. Yes, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session number 2.
Second, roll call, second, roll call?
Mr. Bustamante?
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez? Mr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Did she pop in?
Yeah.
I'll let her know that we'll call. Ms. Hernandez, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
We're gonna go back into executive session, so we.
Oh, did I miss the?
That's okay, that's okay.
I was trying to log back in.
We're
Okay.
going to connect with you back in the conference room.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right.
Session number 2.
Yes.
All right, we need a motion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion, returning from executive session number 2 to proceed as discussed in executive session.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Mr. Bustamante,
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez,
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Aye.
and Mr. Rodriguez.
Aye. Okay, moving right along, do we have any suggestions for future agenda items? Ms. Hernandez, any suggestions for any future agenda items?
No, thank you.
Okay. And we have no unfinished business, so we need a motion to adjourn.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Mr. Bustamante,
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez,
Aye.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Aye.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful holiday.